So there might be some noise going on in the background. I'm not sure because they're just like a big truck just pulled out on my street. And I don't know what they're doing, but they're making noise earlier. So hopefully they're leaving. I don't know. But I'm here today to talk to you about Scarlet, the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. So we're going to talk about that. The first thing that I want to say is if you have not read Scarlet, please leave. There's a nice little stop button, and there's a nice little X up on your tab, and there's like a little YouTube search bar. Just, type something in. You can leave. You don't have to sit here and watch it. But if you don't mind being, discussing something you haven't read, feel free to stick around. If you've read it, obviously, I hope you'll stick around so we can have a nice discussion about it in the comment section below. So let's get on to it. I want to start off by saying that what I really loved about Scarlet was, even though it was the second book, so reading the first book was pretty much, required reading to fully grasp what was going on here, it still felt like its own story. It still felt complete. Obviously, there were some things that did remain unanswered, but for the most part, I was satisfied with how this ended. It felt like a piece in a larger puzzle, and not just like, I'm not gonna give you anything because you need to go figure out the rest of this puzzle. So I did enjoy that. I also enjoyed all the characters. I was a little hesitant to read Scarlet for the longest because I was scared that because I knew that Scarlet's I almost like her perspective, but her story wasn't its own story. Like Cinder was still there too, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that. But I liked the balance of seeing what was going on with Scarlet and then what was going on with Cinder, and then at some point they started to just mirror each other, and then they met up, and I was happy, and I was like, yay, you guys can talk now. It doesn't. There's a spoiler warning up there. I'm gonna give it to you now because I'm pretty sure I'm about to talk about some spoilers. So, just another warning. The meeting up doesn't really happen until the very end of the book. Well, not the very end, but close to the end, and I was kind of happy with that. I didn't want them, because at one point in the book I thought they were going to meet, and I was like about halfway through, I think, and I was like, okay, well, I see how they're going to meet up now. And then I was kind of, they did sort of meet up in the way that I anticipated them to meet up, but it was a little different, and so I was happy about that. And again, the whole cast of characters. Scarlet I really enjoyed. It wasn't so much that I enjoyed her because she was amazing, but I enjoyed her because Scarlet had limitations, and she knew what they were. There was never a point in the novel where Scarlet did something and I was like, that doesn't make sense for you to do that. What? Where did that come from? There was never a point with that. Then we got introduced to Wolf because, as we know, Scarlet is Little Red Riding Hood. I mean, there's a riding hood right there, there's a cape, and you can kind of see the glimpse of the hood, right there on her head. If you didn't know, this is if you didn't know, I'm sorry, but come on, it was telegraphed to you, right there on the... And so, where there's Little Red Riding Hood, there's a wolf, and there was a character in this, just named Wolf, and I was kind of like, everyone else kind of got a nice little name, but you're Wolf. I mean, I guess Cinder is just half a Cinderella, but okay. I can live with that. But, so we have Wolf, who is sort of the bad guy, mysterious, brooding type person that's in, YA, and that's his thing, to be the brooding bad guy. But what I didn't really like Wolf ever. I never grew to like him. He was always more of a nuisance to me. I didn't really understand why Scarlet liked him. And then at the end, when Wolf asked her to be the alpha female, I was just like, okay, I'm done. What is this? What am I reading? What did you write, Marissa Meyer? But that was just, that was pretty much the only thing in this novel I didn't like. I didn't like the romance between the Wolf and Scarlet because it just disturbed me. It just disturbed me. I take it back. That was not the only thing that I didn't like. The other thing I didn't like was that suddenly, everyone just started to be lunars, or that the whole lunar thing I don't know. It just started to bother me, and it bothered me that, their planet was just called Luna, and it's the moon, and I was just kind of like, you got a chance to rename the moon, which is, the most boring moon name in the solar system. Our moon is just called the moon, and you just call it Luna, which is pretty much just moon. You rename the moon Moon. Come on now. I was kind of upset with that she couldn't give it like a more interesting name. But that again is just whatever. It's beside the point. It doesn't really affect any of the plot. It's just a minor grievance. But the Wolf Scarlet romance, it just threw me for a loop. I mean, I could see it coming, but then for a while I was just like, maybe it's not, and then when it did, I was just kind of like, whatever. But overall, this is a great book. It does stand on its own merit, like apart from Cinder. I mean, Cinder is a great novel. I love it. I love Scarlet just as much. And now I'm just very angry at the individual who has, like, Crest checked out from the library because I can't read it. And I feel like this is a series that I just want to marathon. And so, when there's a box set available, I can see myself purchasing said box set. But that's all I have to say about Scarlet. Overall, I gave it 10 out of, 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know where the 10 came from. Definitely on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. Like, with 5 stars, I gave it 5 stars. I can't recommend it enough. Like, if you read Cinder, I don't know why you wouldn't pick up Scarlet, because it's every bit as good, the characters are just as great, and, yeah, like, just go. Go, stop watching now, and go pick it up, and read it, and then come back, and tell me what you thought. So until next time, guys,